Brother Time does not offer medical, financial, or any other kind of professional advice or opinion. This is just us talking about things we want to talk about, so take it with a grain of salt.
Medical, financial.
Yeah.
You didn't. There's a comma in between those, not a hyphen.
Oh, medical, financial. Well, if you think about it, does that compound in liability if you provide medical financial advice instead of just medical or financial?
Man, that sounds like it has more utility than a truck.
You should get this surgery, and you shouldn't pay more than this for it.
Yeah. The surgery, if purchased now, will save you time, save you money in the long run.
That's kind of how insurance works, isn't it? Like
insurance doesn't work.
I mean, it does. It does sometimes, as long as you're healthy and you never get sick. Like insurance is a great deal,
right? Yeah, if you're healthy and never get sick, you shouldn't need insurance has only been a cost to you.
Yeah, but then your premiums are low.
Savings if you would have never paid for anything. If you what?
Yeah, you're more just paying for protection, is what you're doing. The insurance company's going to send a few guys over to your house to remind you that they're there to protect you. Anyway, more utility than a truck, faster than a sports car. And that's the Cybertruck slogan.
You love the Cybertruck, don't you?
Yeah, it's my favorite car. I think it's the best car that's ever been made.
It's actually not a car.
Oh, I don't think. My mistake.
I think it's a truck. It's in the name, Cybertruck.
I think Cybertruck is one word, so I don't think it's a truck.
I don't like people using the word cyber for something that's in real space because it makes it sound like it's a digital asset. The Cybertruck.
Oh,
buy one of these Cybertrucks and in the virtual space.
What if the Cybertruck was just you're buying an NFT?
Oh, that would
be a picture, and they send you a car, but then that's not what you actually bought. They just give it to you as a gift. Huh?
Whoa.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm Josh 8 of 10, and something that I would like see remade is the whole process of chickens laying eggs. I think that needs to be rethought. I don't like how the eggs come out of their butts. I think the eggs should come out of their mouths. I think that just feels cleaner, even though it's still not completely clean. But
that's interesting. They would need bigger mouths, I think.
No, I think they just like how a snake, when it swallows something, it has a lump in its body. You would just see chickens a lump slowly start coming out of their neck. Okay, it's your turn to share something.
Well, I'm really disturbed though. I need a minute. Okay.
I don't know why that's funny to me, the idea of chickens sitting in a coop and just periodically.
I'm Isaac 5 of 10. The thing I'd like to see remade is the Model T. I'd like it remade and re-released as a cheap alternative to today's transportation.
Model T, like the Tesla?
Oh, sorry. That's a good question. I meant the Henry Ford's Model T from way back.
Oh, okay.
Just the very basic car, very basic everything. But I don't know if they even had power steering back then. But I feel like there's a way to rebuild those now that, you put in some essentials like AC and maybe some power steering, but keep it a small, lightweight car.
Yeah, I pointed out, I suddenly had a moment a few years back where I felt really old, and it felt weird to me because I hadn't really had that experience before. But I mentioned to a coworker that I liked that I had an older car at the time, but it was great that it had power windows. I was glad that it had some nice stuff like power windows, and it's a good car. They were like, "What do you mean? What else would it have?" They didn't understand that power windows were not
they still they still sell vehicles that don't have power windows. Some people prefer not to have them.
Yeah. I mean, but I guess it depends on. I guess it just didn't occur to me that someone could make it to adulthood not having really seen or understood that a lot of cars don't have like that feature.
They have the crank.
Yeah, they crank it. Or, they've got like a drill in their car and they just like
They just like a DeWalt.
it technically those are power windows.
Yeah, I guess.
Just include that with the car.
Yeah.
But this feels like a good moment for a break right here.
Beep.
And the break's done. We could. How do you
Return to
feel
the
about
show?
that break? Do you feel like it's good quality? Should we return it? That's a
Yeah.
segue to the next topic
Yeah.
of returning things.
I have some philosophy about returning things. I think they're going to be somewhat controversial. I know a little bit about how you feel, but I think that here's an unethical thing that I recommend to people. Like if you buy an item and you feel like it didn't work what you expected from it. I mean, be reasonable, but if it didn't work how you expected, I feel like you should be able to return it. Now,
Okay.
if you don't have the receipt or possibly this is where the unethical part, it's outside of what the store deems as a reasonable amount to return it, and you'd be okay with just getting the same thing, like getting a replacement, and they don't want to do that. What I suggest to people is you buy a new one of the same thing. You put the broken one in the box that you got from the new one, and you return it as if it were the new one.
Okay.
I know.
But you're not actually returning something. You're trading it out for.
Yeah, you're returning the one.
So what do you do with the extra one? Because you still paid for one.
Yeah, no, that's you get one that's working.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. So it's broken. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't last like it was supposed to. It broke. Sorry, I didn't know.
I see. Okay,
Like
I get what you're saying.
You felt like it should have lasted 4 months, and it lasted 3.5 months, and so you're like, "Hey, this thing broke after 3.5 months," and they're like, "Our return policy is after 3 months. It's out of our hands." You're like, "Oh, well, that is convenient.
Yeah,
I'll just buy a new one of the same kind." Yeah, that seems like the right thing to do. Oh, this new one I am returning, but it's secretly the old one.
And then you get to keep the new one, and you endlessly cycle.
Yeah.
That. Okay, so it is unethical. You've admitted
It's
that.
unethical, yeah.
But it's actually kind of smart. I feel like part of why it works is the people who are helping you at the store, they couldn't care less.
They don't. I don't do it a lot, so I don't want it to sound like every week I'm back. Every time I have done something, and most of the time it's not that it's outside of its warranty. I've lost the receipt. I don't know how to get a receipt. Even if I paid the insurance for replacement, I lost that receipt. So I don't have a way to, collect on what I've paid for. So I just buy a new one.
So do you just leave the receipts at the checkout? Like when it says, please take your receipt, you're like, no.
They don't do that at the take your receipt?
Yeah. They don't say, please take your receipt, like the machine doesn't say that to you.
Why would a machine talk to you?
That's a good question, but I'm just trying to piece together how you lose so many receipts.
How do you keep your receipts? What do you have, like a folder full of receipts?
It's not a bad thing to be responsible with receipts. It's not.
You're
trying to shame me for being
your own personal receipts.
I don't, but April's really good at keeping receipts, and she'll tuck them in her purse.
I just now I'm curious. Do you have like a number at which you collect the receipt? Like if it's a $5 receipt, you cannot tell me you save that receipt.
It depends. Honestly, I think the reason why April's so good at collecting receipts is she has this app that lets her scan receipts and she gets like points when she
Okay.
scans receipts, and I think that's why she keeps them. I don't know that she keeps them past that. But I would say anything above like $30, I'd probably want to keep the receipt for
Okay.
in case I want to return it for some, in case like I feel like it didn't really do what I thought it was going to do, and then I take it back and they say to me, "Hey, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
You should not, like, why are you bringing this to us? This is very used."
Yeah.
And so I
Well,
go and I
that.
buy a new one, and then I stick that old one, and they're like, "Look, this isn't even the same model. Like, they stopped making this model a year ago."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Well, there
just
are
shrug and say, "I don't know what to tell you. That's what
there.
came in the box."
Yeah. I think that's a fair way to be. I can't say. You're being fair.
Yeah.
Well, some people are unfair with returning things. I think we talked a little bit about
Yeah,
this.
the at the eclipse, people were buying because they didn't plan ahead. Apparently, I guess they thought that suddenly the day of the eclipse glasses would materialize in their hand. But anyway, just poor planning on people's part. They would go to hardware stores and buy those.
Welding masks.
Yeah, welding masks,
I don't
which
know that does that. That
yeah,
works, does it?
I don't think it. I don't know if it does, but I'd assume it doesn't. And part of the thing is I don't know if you know this, but using glasses, especially to look at the sun, is going to wear them out. They actually wear out. Like, they don't last forever. As a matter
Interesting.
of fact, next time we do an eclipse thing with the glasses we bought like a year ago, I think we bought these. I'm gonna want to get us new glasses for the next one we see,
Okay.
just because they do wear out as you use them. Anyway, okay, that's like a side tangent. People were buying those masks, the welding masks, and then apparently they were trying to just return them the day after the eclipse, to where hardware stores had to put up signs that said, "Sorry, you can't return welding masks bought before, this date." Basically,
Yeah.
because people apparently would buy like a bunch of welding masks, use them to look at the eclipse, and then return them, which it just feels kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like, I don't know how to say this. It feels
Doesn't
kind of
seem.
classless. Like,
Yeah. Well,
it
there's
lacks
people
class.
who have entire business models around. They will buy because Costco has a really good return policy. They don't ask a lot of questions. I've returned food there. Well, in fairness, the food was literally had mold on it and was unopened. But
Right.
they don't ask a lot of questions. As long as you have half or more of the food still in there, they take it back. But they'll like let people return electric bikes, and people will buy 10 or 12 of them and rent them out all summer and then
Mhm.
return them at the end of summer. And Costco, the employees know what's going on because it's the same people every year doing the same exact thing, and they've seen their bikes being rented out. they tell they just take them back.
Yeah.
I think that's unethical.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
And I don't. It makes me feel better about my unethicalness that someone else is doing worse.
it's not that bad. I mean, we're not like robbing, people in the street, right? It can't be that bad.
Oh, is that the justification?
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
I
and
worry those bikes are going to get bought by someone who thinks, oh, someone tried it, didn't like it, and returned it. It's just an open box. When really it's been rented out, probably red hard, the entire summer. Which
yeah,
it's then a used product.
yeah.
It's used.
And there is an expectation when there's a used product that's the company selling, is that it was used for like, maybe 30 minutes, and they were like, "I just can't get this to work. I don't know how to use a scooter. Why did I buy this?" And then they return it. But no, these are going to be like driven on the road for an entire summer and then returned.
Yeah, it'd be better if they had like an hours meter, sort of like they have on other equipment, and then, well, that's more like machinery equipment, like construction stuff will have their hours of operation on
That
it.
would be
So
smart, though. That would be a smart way for them to combat
yeah, and
this
that you
issue.
just simply say as long as it's under 5 hours of use, you can return it,
Yeah,
and that gives you time to try it out, ride it a few times. You should know within the first hour if you love or hate the thing,
yeah,
but you shouldn't be able to return something that's been ridden beyond that.
yeah. Kind of like how I mentioned before, Steam has on its video games, when you buy a video game on Steam, if you've played it for less than 2 hours, they'll let you return it. There's actually some wiggle room there, apparently. Like, if you're over 2 hours and you send in a request, they may honor it. I've even heard of games that did very poorly, like they were just not good games. And Steam was just allowing returns no matter how long you had played.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I like that. I like that. I feel like Steam sides on the player side, the consumer side, as opposed to the people making the game, because then, they're obviously incentivized. That's the word I was trying to say, to make a good game, instead of just, unfortunately, a lot of people that make games are making really, really poor quality games. Just
Even the big names.
Yeah, even the big names. It's like you can't trust. Like, I struggle not to pre-order games that I'm really excited for, but really we shouldn't pre-games.
No, you're pre-buying something that, and for the most part, you can't play it before anyone else. What do you get the install done before everyone else?
It depends, but it's yeah. Well, let's all think about the state of video games over this break. And we're back. So you put in a topic, food shopping. Did we go over that last
We
week?
talked a little bit about it. I still haven't done the thing that we talked about. I was going to start freezing the snacks, and Susie bought the snack the Heavenly Hunk snack that I like. She was she knows I go through them pretty fast, so she bought 2 packages. They're both gone.
Oh no.
They're both empty.
I have the same issue with hot Cheetos. Like, I buy these puff corn hot Cheeto things that I really like, and man, I go through those way too quick.
Yeah. Do you put hot sauce on them?
No, no, that
Have
that
you
doesn't
have you
sound
tried
good.
it?
No, that doesn't sound good. What kind of hot sauce?
I don't know. People do it.
Okay, there are a
I've
lot
tried
of
it.
different kinds of hot sauce. You realize that? That's like asking, like,
No,
if you
no,
had a
they're not.
sandwich, if you eat that with a
There's really
sandwich.
not a lot of. I don't think there is. Name like 3 hot sauces.
There's Buffalo, Taco Bell hot sauce, Taco Bell fire sauce, mild sauce.
I
Like,
think.
even under
Oh,
the
okay.
Taco Bell umbrella, there are like 5 different hot sauces. They have different
Well,
flavors.
okay, okay. I don't know. It might be Frank's Red Hot. That's all I think about with hot
I
sauces.
actually don't really like that buffalo sauce, the Frank's Red Hot, that flavor. I just
Okay.
like, I feel like, as someone who likes spicy things, I should be all over that, but I just don't like how chemically it tastes. And yeah,
No, that's
just
fair.
I've just never really been a fan. Like, I'll eat buffalo stuff. The thing is I really like, there's this pizza place called Double Dave's, and they make a buffalo chicken pizza, which is so good. And the reason why it's good is because the buffalo flavor is very minimal, and all the other flavors are there to kind of. I guess my issue with buffalo sauce is anytime I have it, like buffalo wings, all I taste is the buffalo sauce. It's like I don't taste
Yeah.
anything else, and I don't like it. But we do have this week, we have some Cybertruck news.
Oh, there's news about the Cybertruck?
There is. There was a recall
What? I
on.
didn't. The Cybertruck is out?
Yeah. Oh, did you not get yours?
No, I just got this thing, the cyber currency.
Oh, okay. I
Lets
think.
me unlock it in some video games.
Yeah, I
The
think.
cyber.
I think you got scammed, is what happened. But yeah, no. About 4,000 Cybertrucks have been recalled. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot. Keep in mind, like, have you seen a Cybertruck in person?
No,
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't believe it if I did.
there aren't very many out there. So 4,000 is actually quite a bit compared to how many are out there. I don't know how many are out there, but so there was a fault in the accelerator pedal that could
Uh-oh.
cause wrecks because the accelerator pedal could get stuck, and obviously, someone who knows more than anyone about what was it, engineering or mass production? I forget what Mr. Elon said about his grand knowledge, how to put things together.
Okay.
Apparently, he missed that, and so did everyone else. So I know stuff happens, recalls happen, but it just feels like one other thing about this car that. So first of all, the way the car is designed, you know how the automotive industry started to go away from solid metal and started making things that have like crumple zones, and
Yeah.
so that the
Yeah.
car will absorb impact, not the human body inside the car.
Yeah, I was actually just watching a video about that's weird that you bring it up. Like yesterday I was watching the different they it was all computer generated and they didn't say it was computer generated, but you could see the different crumple zones and how front and back of a vehicle typically fold very easily, but that compartment that people are inside is supposed to stay intact.
Yeah. And one thing that you don't always think about is the impact of that on people outside of the car. Is
Okay.
a car that isn't just like a solid hunk of metal and has some give is I mean, obviously if you're getting hit by a car, you're getting hit by one. But it's a different story getting hit by, a sharp edge of stainless steel versus, something that's basically that feels
Plastic.
like plastic. Yeah, that kind of gives a little and is a little softer.
Fiberglass. Yeah, fiberglass.
I don't know. These Cybertrucks just they seem unsafe for other reasons.
I think you're already against the Cybertruck because you don't like Elon.
Yeah.
So I think you've got a skewed view of it. I don't think they look good. I like Elon. I like Tesla in theory. I think they're so ugly. But I have not seen one in person. It's just the images online. And I've heard that seeing it in person is completely different. But it feels like a 90s game drew a truck from the future, but they only had like a few points that they could do to make their vector graphic.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like it looks like. Some old, like, remember Star Fox? It looks like a truck out of that game.
Yeah, like Star Fox, where the ship in that game, it's like a 3D game on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. They couldn't.
They didn't have very much, they didn't have a very high vertice budget.
And the Cybertruck is all electric, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I think that even that, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that's a nice option.
I think that's great.
I don't think that the F-150, the Lightning, whatever, I don't think that one's faring very well in the market. But so I want Tesla to succeed with that, but I don't know.
My main issue is that Elon Musk can't seem to stop lying about everything. And it's one thing to say he's a hype man. It's another thing that he just blatantly says things that at the time he must have known were not true.
Yeah, and that's not cool.
And apparently he also puts bizarre restrictions on his engineers for self-driving, where he says things like humans drive with just eyesight. So our cars must be able to drive with just cameras. And he's against using things like LADAR and other technologies that the human doesn't have.
Okay. Not even combining them.
Like, I don't actually know what Tesla uses, but I have seen that restriction that Elon put on like such an arbitrary thing to care about, but it just speaks to his hubris and his inability to be wrong in almost any case. Like everything is a success. And that's the thing about him being a hype man. Like people will say, "Oh, he's just a hype man." It's like, well, but he must know what he's saying is false. And that just makes him a liar, frankly. Like there's a difference. Okay, there's a difference between being optimistic and saying things that you know are not true in order to, get people to buy in. And the Cybertruck is just to me, it's an example of that. What he does is it just so many things about it, like bulletproof glass, like the weird like things that okay, but why would you need that? Why would you need that in a car?
Oh, well that's something that people just want in general, but I think what you're talking about something important when you talk about the value of integrity, and I think that I've been putting, this is going to sound stupid, but I think maybe I've been kind of elevating Elon Musk in my mind a little bit too much when it comes to like being an American entrepreneur, like leading industry in something but you've got some points about like, is he doing it with integrity? Not that I don't want to turn and say, well, is any corporation doing it with integrity? That's not the point. It's he as an individual. Should we put people on a pedestal if they don't have integrity? Like that's probably something fundamental that we need to judge people by when we're trying to say someone is fundamentally good. They're operating with integrity. I think that's a basic principle that I have that I was not considering with Elon.
Yeah, it's when you look at past results, you can appreciate the successes, but it's about trusting what they're going to do in the future. And anytime Elon is saying XYZ is going to happen in the future, like 3 years ago or something, he said that, the value of self-driving is going to basically earn you $100,000 a year. And he said that, like he was like, you should get self-driving now because it's going to be so good that it's going to earn you money and the car is going to pay for itself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nowhere near that, right?
Yeah, it's nowhere near that today. And it's
Do you think it may be optimism? Just silly optimism in some cases?
I mean, I don't really know what he's thinking, but the pattern has been that he'll say something like that and it just doesn't happen.
He's maybe spacing himself from the people who call him out on that. Because no one wants to get interviewed by someone who then says, well, you said X, Y, Z this year. We're not even to X this year. Or you said that would happen last year, and we're still not complete with X.
Yeah.
So Y and Z aren't nearly on the table. Like, how do you, the people who trusted you when you said that, how do you make amends to them?
Yeah.
How do you make it right? What do you offer them? An apology? How many apologies do people take? Or if you don't even offer the apology, I'm even skipping ahead because I don't think any apologies have been offered. I think that's a sign of integrity, especially if it's unprompted.
Yeah.
Like there's no outlet, there's no backlash right now, there's no public opinion. I think because it may be because like in the sphere of media and news, it's pretty small potatoes as far as like corporate misbehavior. Like you broke your promise that you made that sold, got people to buy your vehicle. They'd say, "Oh, well, no, he's just a good salesperson. He's just a good sales guy."
Yeah.
Plus, he didn't say the words "I promise."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we're just about out of time, so we do need to take one more break. I don't know what I'm going to do to get out of this funk because right now I'm just so worked up thinking about Mr. Elon. So let's take a quick break and we'll close out here in a second. And that break did not help me.
Well, I know what I don't know if you plan on this anyways, but I think the winner this week should be the Cybertruck.
Oh, you think so, huh? You think the Cybertruck has won because it's an unsafe vehicle?
Because it's unstoppable. Now you
It's
think
unstoppable.
you think
That is true.
the
I
brake,
didn't think about it that way. It's an
you think the
unstoppable.
brake pedal is like it's what engineers said. It's an unintended feature that makes this an unstoppable vehicle. And so
Could you imagine if they
couple that.
changed their marketing to include that idea? It's unstoppable. You can't even stop it when you're driving it.
Oh no.
That's good. Well, congratulations, Cybertruck. You win because you are unstoppable. Even to
Stainless steel construction, the bulletproof glass, all of it makes it the self accelerating pedal, all that combined just make it an unstoppable force.
And what if people who like rob banks get their hands on Cybertrucks?
Yeah, and they could just bail from the vehicle and it'll keep going.
That's how they
the
get
cops
away.
will be chasing it. Yeah, the cops will just keep chasing it. It doesn't have a long range on it, so it won't go forever. But while it has battery life, it's unstoppable.
Well, thank you, listeners, for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, or if you don't like Elon Musk, leave us a review. If you do like Elon Musk, please leave us a review. Any good ones we get actually translate to Elon Musk. Unless you don't like him, then the opposite happens. Whatever you want happens when you leave us a review.
Is that an Elon promise?
That did sound very Elon Musk, didn't it? Well, yeah, we do appreciate you listening. You can reach us online at brothertimepod.com.
brothertimepod.com.